And Bill O'Carroll, I want to start with you on this one. Obviously, I want to give you a chance to talk a bit about the pain at the pump, why we are seeing such a steep rise in our fuel prices. But also tell us this, because you once sat in the bicameral parliament, has it failed to shield Kenyans from these expensive costs of fuel at a time like this? What's your response?
Yeah, all right. I think first it is wrong. Let me start by saying it's misplaced to suggest that the Minister of Energy is to blame. This is law that was signed, enacted by the government, by the parliament and by government. So it's about a formula that was enacted. Number one, when this thing came up in 2018, that there will be taxes to be introduced on petroleum, it was worked out. It came to 57.8 shillings, almost 58 shillings per litre of petrol. In 2018, KEPSA, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, KOTU, all the people in the industry complained that this was going to affect, the cost of living, it's going to affect productivity, it's going to affect competitive everything. But let me tell you, not a single political leader. It was just immediately after the handshake. In fact, the official opposition party was among those who really supported it in Parliament, that those taxes be passed. And let me also say what McPhee, my colleague, had mentioned earlier. When the international prices of oil went to zero per barrel in April 2020, the price of petrol, the pump price of petrol in Kenya remained at 93 shillings. It never went down below 93. Why? Because even at 93, 58 shillings was still the amount that was going to government. So you see, the fact is that whatever we do, petroleum accounts for 15% of the total revenue that the government of Kenya collects. It's the cash cow. It's actually the only major source of revenue. We are no different than those guys in the Arab countries who make money from petroleum. We make most of our revenue from petroleum. So the government has to do this. Lastly, I want to comment, and then I'll come to the issue that you raised. I think the point that has been raised also that disturbs a lot of Kenyans is the comment by the government spokesman, which I believe is shared by his bosses. You see, the fact is that in those developed economies, government spends money on its citizens. Those who are unemployed get benefits. The vaccines that we're asking for, the government was asking for 10 billion loan from World Bank the other day to get vaccines, to vaccinate about a third of Kenyans. In those countries, the government offers vaccines to the entire population at their cost. They don't go asking for loans. I mean, so really, instead, we ask for 10 billion loan, but we spent 5 billion on car grants for MCAs. At the same time, so it's about misplaced priorities. And I want to say this, and this I want to quote what the former Prime Minister of Britain said, Margaret Thatcher at the time, that, there's no country that has prospered by taxing their people to death. It can't. You have to leave money in the pockets of the people so that they can make investment, they can make their choices, they can make a living. You have to talk about this living of the living standards of people. So on your question, Parliament, yes, Parliament is implicit in this action. This is why Kenyans are saying it's crocodile tears. I think when this bill came in 2018, Parliament went ahead and approved it, and I think Parliament had responsibility. Today, as we speak, you saw that, but in the newspapers, that there's going to be a supplementary budget on Thursday. It has never happened that a supplementary budget, you'll have a special sitting, MPs will be recalled. On one afternoon, they are going to look at the budget, first reading, second reading, third reading, and pass a budget of over 100 billion supplementary. In one city. It has never happened. It means they are simply looking at their interest. What happened is Treasury sat with them last week and told them, we are going to get the 10 billion areas for CDF. Are you going to pass our budget? That was the deal. It was all in the public media. You saw it. So unfortunately, Parliament has let down Kenyans. And I think the leaders who are really speaking about taking leadership of this country should know that it's their actions that is responsible for this, because you're asking government to expand its services. You're expanding government today in BBI, expanding it by every means possible, creating state corporations. Today, I think I posted an advert by Nuclear Energy Board. It's really shocking. Nuclear Energy Board that has not put up any nuclear facility has a huge billboard in the city, spending hundreds of thousands, probably millions on that advert, telling them nuclear energy is the future. Why would you want to waste money?
Okay.
So there's a lot of wastage in government, and what Oguna doesn't tell you is that the Kenyans don't want to pay more taxes because that is where our money is going to go.
Okay.
There's no other money, there's no loan.
And
everything that people spend is taxpayers' money.